द वे फॉरवर्ड इज ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਬਹੁਤ-ਬਹੁਤ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਹੈ। ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਹੋਸਟ ਹਰਜੋਤ ਸਿੰਘ। ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਨਿਊਯਾਰਕ ਹੰਟਿੰਗਟਨ ਟਾਊਨ ਕਾਉਂਸਲ ਦੇ ਕੈਂਡੀਡੇਟ ਜੈਨ ਹੀਬਰ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ। ਜੈਨ, ਯੂ ਆਰ ਵੈਰੀ ਵੈਰੀ ਵੈਲਕਮ ਟੂ ਦ ਸ਼ੋ।
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Jen, we had you on this show 2 years back. You, ran a very efficient campaign, I guess, for the same office, and our viewers got to know you. Everyone knows you very well in the town of Huntington. They have long known your service. You have been an educator all your life. You have been a trustee and president of Huntington Education District for 9 years, I believe.
That's
But
right.
I would like you to tell our viewers more about yourself.
Okay, well, thank you for the opportunity to help your viewers get to know me better. So you're right, I've been in education my whole life. I taught public school kindergarten when I lived in Massachusetts. My husband is from Maine originally, and so we met at school in Boston area, Tufts University, and then we both worked there for a while. But when we decided to start a family, we wanted to be closer to family, and I grew up on Long Island in Nassau County. So we moved here, and in moving here, we actually moved to Huntington specifically for two reasons. We were looking for a really like the most New England town we could find on Long Island, given how much we love New England and that my husband is from Maine. And we were looking for a place that had diversity because I had grown up in a very white, very homogenous community, and that was not what I was interested in for my own children. So we moved to Huntington, and we've never looked back. It's been the perfect place for us to live, and I can't even begin to tell you how much I love this community. But I guess I could say that I've showed it by volunteering my time, as you said, for 9 years to work for my community as a Board of Education member and ultimately as the president of the Board of Education. And I have also been a part of the community as a nursery school director. I worked at St. John's Nursery School right in Huntington Village. And currently I'm working at Kerber's Farm actually as their school program director. So about a year ago, we opened the school and I've started a program there where we have classes for people of all ages, for preschool age kids, for school age kids, and for adults. In addition to that, we've offered programs for all the school districts in the area, and we've received a lot of great input about our program. And we've also done some other events there, and it's been a really satisfying and fun job because it's still education, but just a very different aspect of it. But in terms of, running for the board, you're right. I ran 2 years ago, and although it was a great experience, apparently it wasn't my time. I'm determined to get to the table this time, though, because the truth of the matter is, I know I would be great at this job. I I have the right skill set for it. I'm a very good team player. I love sitting across the table from people that disagree with me because I really think that push and pull of different opinions is what ultimately gets you to the best solutions. And then besides that, I have concerns over our town board being all one party. And so if the two other candidates, the Republican candidates, win this particular election, we'll have a 5-0 town board. And, I really believe in balance, and I believe in that push and pull to really get the best results. And so I think that this is a really important local election, and I hope that people are paying attention.
No, definitely, Jen. We always believe that the local elections are the most important elections because they affect your life directly and immediately. Jen, you said when you moved into this town, there was a particular character of the town, which attracted you, and
Yes.
that holds true for a lot of families who have moved into these towns or who have, continued to stay in these towns. And what we are seeing right now is a huge change, a huge threat to the character of the town. If you might be able to connect. I am talking about these zoning variances that we are seeing in the town of Huntington,
Yeah.
which is a big election issue. We know when we have you as a candidate, we have integrity, we have accessibility. what we need to know is your stance on these divisive issues. I want to understand from you, where do you stand on this R40 zoning variants that we are seeing across Parkshore and these areas?
I'm so glad you asked me about this. And of course, I expect this question to come up at every meet and greet or meet the candidate event that I go to, because quite frankly, there is not an area of this town where I haven't been walking and knocking on doors that this hasn't been the number one concern of all of our residents, no matter which part of the township you live in. So let me say loud and clear that I am against all the zoning changes and the changes in our codes, because first of all, I believe that they were put on the books for a reason. I think that zoning laws were put onto our books because this is the way we felt that the community would best be developed and planned. And I think when you just go ahead and change them, at will, first of all, I think you're going against what the community really wants. But also, I think you're taxing our infrastructure in a way that we are not ready for and that wasn't built for. Besides that, I told you, as I said earlier, we moved here because it looked the most like New England of any town that we could find on Long Island that was still close enough to my family in East Williston. So I don't want to see it change like that. I think that it's a beautiful town just the way it is. And I think that I was in Northport the other day for their family night downtown, and it has such a small town, old-fashioned feel to it. And I can tell you, as somebody that grew up in Nassau County, it's not true of every town in on Long Island. I mean, Huntington is really unique in the charm and the character and the flavor of the town. Most towns don't have a walking center the way we do in Huntington Village or in Northport Village. There's a particular charm to Huntington that doesn't exist too many places. And the last thing I want to see is for that charm to be developed right out. Besides that, though, I think you set a dangerous precedent when you keep letting people change the zoning laws, because once one person is allowed to change it, the next person that comes along just has to point to them and say, but they were allowed to change it. And the next thing you know, you're convincing them that they should be allowed to change it as well. And quite frankly, most of the zoning laws that have been changed under this guise of affordable housing. Now, I do think we need more diverse housing in Huntington, and I'll tell you the way that I think it could go. But the fact that all these places are being put up under the guise of affordable housing is such a red herring. None of them that go in are affordable to almost anybody. So to keep the only people that are benefiting from these big developments going in are the developers. They buy these properties knowing that they're zoned a certain way, knowing that they're zoned for single family houses on this size piece of property. The next thing you know, they want to put up 130 townhouse units, and they expect to get that zoning change. And when you approach them, and I know this because I went to the meetings for the Park Shore property, what you hear is, well, we went to them and said, look, we'd be okay if you were going to be putting up this many, independent houses. And their answer is, oh, but that's not what we want to do. We're not interested in that. Well, why did you buy the property with the zoning laws on it if you weren't interested in putting up the houses that were legitimately allowed on that property? It's because they planned and feel that this current town board is going to say yes to the zoning change and allow them to put up however many townhouse units all the way to the very borders of that property without any fight. And I plan on giving everybody a fight. I am not going to rubber stamp these plans. And although my mom taught me never to say never, I would say that I will almost never approve a zoning change because I really don't believe in it.
Yes, Jen, I believe you speak for most of the residents of the town, but how do we square it off when changes? There have been increases in population. There are issues of development. They argue that the taxes can be brought down if we allow these developments. What do you say to that?
I say that they're going for the solution that's the lowest hanging fruit. That's what I would say. Those are our challenges to our community. Are you telling me that the only way to solve those problems is to keep sticking up as many houses as possible in places where the residents don't want them? I disagree. I think, truthfully, and I've been saying this for 2 years, and I really hope to be heard this time, We have empty commercial storefronts all over the township. You drive up and down Jericho Turnpike. That's all you have to do. Well, we don't have mom and pop shops coming back to Jericho Turnpike. Largely, those businesses have unfortunately been completely decimated by companies like Amazon. So what we need to do is, instead of leaving those buildings open and unoccupied and off the tax rolls, and then turning to our only green spaces and deciding to put up housing there, why not reimagine all those commercial spaces, or as many as we can, as apartments and places for people to live? And that's where I think we could hit that diverse housing stock that we need, so that people, quite frankly, like my three sons, I have two sons, they are 25 and 23 that are both post-college. I have a third son who's 19 and just finished his freshman year of college. Those, I would love for them to stay on Long Island, and frankly, they're going to be well employed and gainfully employed. In fact, my oldest son is still, in school getting a master's degree in the library sciences, so he hopes to work in a school somewhere. My middle son already has a great job in finance. He still can't afford to live close by here because there is literally nothing that won't take every penny he earns to be able to live in the area. And so I do think, instead of providing people with basement apartments or illegal housing, why not try to make some attractive, safe, affordable housing in some of these empty buildings? And it would be a win-win.
Jen, we definitely need some innovative ideas. We will talk more about that after a short break. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਰਹੋ The Way Forward. The Way Forward is ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਫਿਰ ਤੋਂ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਹੈ। ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਹੋਸਟ ਹਰਜੋਤ ਸਿੰਘ। ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਹੰਟਿੰਗਟਨ ਟਾਊਨ ਕਾਉਂਸਲ ਦੇ ਕੈਂਡੀਡੇਟ ਜੈਨ ਹੀਬਰਟ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ। Jen, you are welcome again after the break. Jen, we always hear candidates, particularly on the island, talking about the importance of water, the environment. It's because that's a popular issue. We all understand the importance, but I believe in recent times we have seen definite attacks on our environment, on our water protection. And what you said in the beginning, we definitely need a balance on the town board to raise those tough questions which are not being raised at the moment. Can you tell us the state of water protection in our town at the moment?
Yes, I can, and it's not good. I don't have good news. I think all you have to do is read the papers and see how often our beaches get closed to know that our water quality is not good right now. And unfortunately, our Suffolk County legislators left federal money on the table that could have gone a long way to helping us extend our sewer district and also provide funds to cleaning up our water. So I would say shame on them, first of all, for leaving that on the table when there was ample opportunity for them to, put that up as a referendum for the voters to decide whether they thought clean water is important or not. But they didn't. They voted it down, and my understanding is that they voted it down because they knew that clean water is an important issue to many of the Democratic voters, and they didn't want a large number of Democratic voters turning up at the November elections. So I will say shame on them for that vote. And I would assure your viewers, anybody that's listening, that if and when a vote like that comes to my table, if it means that I'm not going to win the next election, I'm still going to do the right thing and vote for clean water.
Yeah, that's so important to all the residents, particularly in this town. Jen, again, the issue of somebody being able to raise the questions is very, very important. We saw, a backhanded approach to raising taxes on an average person in the town when it came to road repairs. Can you throw some light on that issue, please?
Yes, and again, I think it illustrates the way our town board is currently going about solving issues, and that's basically to either go for the easiest approach or to leave it at the feet of the taxpayers. Because obviously, we'd all like to see our roads perfectly paved all the time, fixed, no potholes. it's a lot of money to do that. And so in order to get it done, instead of looking for ways to find money in the budget, and of course that's not easy, that involves time and effort and homework, but instead of looking for other places where maybe we could find this money, including maybe a surplus from the fact that we didn't have any snow and there's got to be sand and salt money left over, they decided that what they thought would be a good idea would be to just let every single taxpayer in Huntington Township pay more to fix the roads. And so again, that kind of solution is not the kind of solutions I'm going to be coming up with. I'm a resourceful person. I know we already pay way too much in taxes for the services we're getting. And again, frankly, we should all be on sewers. So the fact that they let that sewer money go is ridiculous. But just locally, to think that the best way to solve the problem to close that budget shortfall was just to make all the taxpayers cover it is disrespectful and tone deaf, especially in a time when so many people, so many of our neighbors are struggling. And they kind of did the same thing in terms of this bocce court. So this is a issue that affected a much smaller group of people, but I think was still important. They wanted to charge people an exorbitant amount of money to come and enjoy the sport of bocce at one of our, or a couple of our parks where there are bocce courts. You're talking about a very small group of people who are just coming to do something recreationally. And what they did, it would have priced people out of being able to do that. So myself and Don McKay, who's my, running mate, decided to do our homework and find out and speak to the people that were involved, because people were, not everybody knew about it, but if you were somebody that enjoyed bocce, you knew. And so we did go about writing a letter and trying to convince the board to back off of that decision, since it seemed, again, disrespectful and tone deaf. So, I can say again that we are looking to be much more resourceful and creative in our solutions to the problems that our neighbors are facing.
Then we appreciate and thank you for that. We don't want our ordinary citizens to be taxed more. I think they're already being taxed very heavily. Jen, what else do you think are the issues in this election?
Again, I think the most important issues that are affecting our neighbors are really the development, because many people are obviously concerned about that. They don't want to see every piece of green property in our town become overdeveloped. I also think that anything that is affecting people at their kitchen table is really important. So if you're worried about covering your bills and suddenly your taxes are being raised to cover expenses that should already be covered in our budget, that's a concern. People are struggling right now. They don't need more taxes, obviously. And finally, as I said, I'm concerned that our town board will have no balance, going forward if the other two candidates win. And I don't want to see every project that comes to the table simply get rubber stamped because you have 5 people who all feel exactly the same way about issues. I think that a healthy debate is what our town members are looking for. And frankly, more respect and more open conversation and more accessibility from their town board. And I am absolutely that person. If I tell you I'm going to get back to you, I'm going to get back to you. If I tell you that I'm going to have office hours Monday through Thursday that you can come in and make an appointment and come see me, I mean that. If you invite me to a civic meeting, I'm going to show up. So this is, for many of the candidates, I think, this is just another step in their professional career. Quite frankly, for me, this is a dream job. So I really hope to have the opportunity to work for our community, because I, again, think I have the right skill set for it. And I certainly would be willing to give it my all.
Mm-hmm. Jen, and you have always particularly been involved with youth and children for their education, for their training, for mentorship. Anything particular you have in mind if you get on the town board?
Yeah, I've been speaking, obviously I've been screening with some of the local unions. And one of the things that I would love to champion is their apprenticeship programs, because I really believe as a school board member, there was always talk of getting kids college ready. But while I was on the board, we really changed our focus and tried to focus on getting kids college and or career ready. because not every kid is meant to go to college, and it's not to the benefit of every kid to go to college. For some of them, to go into the trades is the exact right direction for them, and it makes for such a wonderful, career and profession. And in order to get kids really involved and to learn those skills and trades, those apprenticeship programs are really, really beneficial. So in that way, I would love to help our youth and like I said, champion that program. The other thing I would love to do, and it would be right at the top of my list, ever since I was a Board of Education member in Huntington and representing Huntington Station, our town has been promising those families a youth center. So now you're talking 20 years later, and they still have no youth center. And in that particular part of our township, they could really use it. Those families would really benefit from it, and they really deserve it. So that would be another issue that would be right at the top of my list to get started on as soon as I get myself to that table.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that, Jen. As we said
Thank
earlier, you have a proven track record, which shows us that when we have you on the town council, we have integrity, we have accessibility, and now we know that you have all these innovative ideas. We have run out of time. I want you to put in your own words, telling our viewers, why would you say are you the best candidate for the position that you're seeking?
I think I'm the best candidate for the position because I think I have all the skills that you need and a proven track record. As you said, I've represented our community before. Now, a smaller part of our community, my school district, but I'm talking 9 years of volunteer work for the community. And all you would have to do is ask any one of those parents, and I don't care which side of the aisle they vote on, ask any one of those parents in my school district who was in the school district when I was representing them, and they will tell you that I did lead with integrity, that I showed up when I said I was going to show up, that I met the challenges of the job, and we had quite a few while I was on the Board of Education, and that I was always accessible to people in the community, no matter who they were. If they had an issue, all they had to do was come and speak to me. I may not have been able to solve every issue, but there was never a time when I wasn't willing to give it a shot. I'm a solution. I really am a problem solver by nature. I'm solution oriented, and I'm not afraid of a challenge. So I really think that those skills alone make me the best qualified candidate. I also happen to bring a diverse sort of an opinion to the table because I'm not an attorney. I'm not a Republican, frankly. And I think, like I said, a female voice, female Democratic voice, I think would be a really good voice on that board.
Jen, thank you so much for taking all the time today. We wish you the very best of luck for your campaign.
Thank you. I can't thank you enough for having me, Harjot. Always a pleasure.
Thank you so much.